Hello everyone, I am Mrs Esther Massey. Welcome back to another session of Lesson 2, The Making of the Constitution. In my previous video, we have studied the first part, that is, laying the foundation of the universal adult franchise. And today we will study the second part, that is, on the perception of the electoral roll as a state building project.
The making of the Indian Republic and democracy and the preparation of the electoral roll for the first general election in India is remarkable, both in terms of enormity of the task and fortitude in the face of labor involved. Now let's look at the advertisement resume ad. Indians became voters before they became citizens. Indeed, it was in the course of the preparation of the preliminary electoral rolls from November 1947 that the process of inserting the people into the administrative structure of the state was initiated. Indeed, it was the quest for a place in the roll which prepared the ground for the conception of principles of democratic citizenship that were produced in the process of constitution making. The relationship between democracy and the political imagination of the people of India was the implementation of universal franchise that elicited both a sense of Indianness and commitment to democratic nationhood. Moreover, it was the contest and the language of interaction that was produced at the ground level. In the process of making the roll, that political imagination itself was democratized. Now let's look at the genealogy of the people. Genealogy means a line of descent traced continuously from an ancestor. The concept of the people is central to the universalist imaginings of modernity. It is abstract but also historically specific and can be traced through many genealogies, in which it assumes diverse form. If one were to trace a particular genealogy of the people, one has to work out its formation in specific historical context, the meaning that are attributed to it, and the manner in which it is operationalized itself. In the post-colonial context in India, the people were constituted at a pan-Indian scale of anti-colonial struggles for self-determination, but also in and through specific site where struggle took place against local power formation. The people were also constituted as the repository of sovereign power when they gave themselves the constitution on 26 November 1949, a constitution that they had enacted. The people also held constituent power was stated emphatically in Article 395 of the Constitution, which repealed the Indian Independence Act. It is difficult to find a corresponding persuasive popular narrative on franchise which was of an order which communicated substantially and therefore convincingly India's movement towards becoming democracy. Now we will look at the chronosophy of citizenship. Chronosophy is the study of very brief intervals of time. The legal affirmation of citizenship happened only with the commencement of the Constitution. While there was a legal vacuum on who were Indian citizens, it did not mean that questions of legal citizenship were not being addressed. Indeed, the questions of legal citizenships were coming up and were being addressed primarily in the context of preparing the electoral roll, since only citizens could vote. Indeed, rather than a sequential development, one could perhaps see them as overlapping and simultaneous, taking shape through documentation practice of the state, and alongside the development of the institution of the state and their functional differentiation. Now we will study about the constitutionalism, state formation, and anticipatory citizens. The various flow of communication between the government functionaries across ministries and departments, the Constituent Assembly and the Legislative Assembly gave an insight into the inner functioning of the state. The manner in which the separation of power among institutions, their own understanding of these powers, the problem of drawing boundaries between and among institutions, and more generally, the emergence of broad pattern of settling in of institution and institutional practices, and the governmentalization of the state was taking place through deliberations. The Constituent Assembly had decided that the names of all the displaced persons be included in the voters' list on the strength of their oral declaration. According to the narrative report of the Election Commission of India on the first general election, the states were instructed to enroll all such persons in the electoral roll and a distinguishing mark be placed against their names so that their citizenship status may be confirmed later after the constitution came into force. All these descriptions we have studied about gives a detailed narration of how and why India became a democracy. Students, I hope you all have understood this much. We will continue this lesson in my next video. Thanks for watching.